What do you think the world would be like if Pangea still existed? 1. Earth would be warmer than what we experience because there's no continent over the South Pole. This means that if there is an ice cap in the south, it's probably smaller and thinner than what we have. Large, warm regions in the Pangean interior would also have a noticeable effect on the climate. 2. The Pangean interior would be characterized by vast deserts and scrublands due to being far from the ocean. Life here would be concentrated around rivers and oases. As you get closer to the oceans, more forests and plains show up, and water sources become more plentiful. The coastlines would be full of life, with many different climates, species and weather patterns. 3. Plants and wildlife would be very different. This is where it gets really speculative. But in all likelihood reptiles would be very common due to their ability to survive in hot, dry environments. Whether dinosaurs or mammals evolve is questionable. I personally think that they probably would, but reptiles would still be the dominant land animals. Meanwhile, plants in the interior are generally small, tough, hardy and capable of surviving on very little water. Plants on the coastline are larger and more nutritious but also are very well equipped to survive storms, as hurricanes would likely be stronger without multiple small land masses to weaken them. Sea life would probably be similar to that of the Permian and Triassic eras and would be mostly concentrated around the continental shelves. 4. In all likelihood, we would not be able to witness this world. Species evolved due to very specific and particular reasons and events, and Pangea never breaking up is extremely significant in terms of climate, geography and biology. As to whether sentient life could evolve, I have no idea. It's definitely an intriguing concept though. According to a recent article, Pangea will reform in a few billion years. So let's just wait and see. Ocean traveling boats would be vastly different. Flat earthers would probably have a better case. Big ass hot dry spot in the middle. The oceans would be a hell of a lot creepier. Fewer animals would be considered exotic because they would have roamed the entire land that was suitable for them, rather than being isolated away to one specific location that wasn't even known until recently. E.g., marsupials all over the world. Similarly, the improved ease of human travel across the land would lessen race differences among people. You just wouldn't ever have groups of people isolated for thousands of years. E.g., Australian Aboriginals, with farm animals and crop plants available to every group of people. Nobody, and I'm thinking of Australian Aboriginals, would get left behind because of the lack of such things where they live. Information travels faster. No longer will we find a group of people isolated from the rest of the world who never knew that the telescope had been invented. Now you can string a wire telegraph from China to Australia, or Brazil to Tanzania, or Turkey to Mexico, and it's all across land. Probably fewer languages as well. Geostationary satellite slots are now very expensive. Eclipses. Various sources. https blogs.eg.eu/division/2019/07/12/beyond-text-honics-the-present-day-the-biggest-they-h avenue been since the formation of Pangea. Say that tidal energy was lower in Pangea, but it is tidal energy that causes proof of this theorem, which this margin is too small to contain the moon to recede from Earth. Thus, in this Pangea world, the moon is still closer. The orbit is shorter. Eclipses occur more often and solar eclipses are always total, without rivers, lakes, or bodies of water for easier transport of goods. The inland parts of the world would be deserted and not be an attractive place to live. may be more advanced because there would be less need for complex travel and therefore civilizations would be in contact earlier. But just as fucked up because people. I'd like to think it would be less divided. More people would understand what it's like driving across Texas. Definitely a clusterfuck, or if you prefer, a shit show. A lot more war. It would be coastal people vs the landlocked scrubs. We would probably have more COVID in Australia. Indians would not be called Indians because Columbus would have not confused America with India. Constant, never-ending wars. Because we are not separate anymore. The rulers of different countries have nothing like a pesky sea stopping them from invading neighbor country. So while the culture is a little more homogeneous, because of more travel and more trade exchange, the battles over political and geographical dominance are more intense. Who wouldn't want to truly rule over the entire world? There can be geographical features like Himalayas or vast deserts like Sahara that might separate regions for a few centuries political dominance-wise, but trade and culture exchange would still continue. It would be more like longish spells of monarchy or dictators ruling over vast majority followed by periods of turbulent exchanges of power and factionalizing of smaller nations. Democracy would have harder time getting adopted. Navies would be less important. Armies would be bigger. And countries would be huge. Young. It's called Australia. Midwestern Americans would be driving to Asia for vacation, saying, "It's not that far." We'd probably have less but larger countries and a lot more land borders, landlocked countries. International travel would be quicker. Alternate History Hub did a video, https://youtube.be/ifda6j3air. Constant wars over few inches of land between countries. Wait. Oh no. Less ethnicities. It would be very large and all connected. Traveling would be faster. I guess boats would probably be used less. And airplanes more, considering the fact that if everything is still connected, then there'd be no need to go around in boat opposed to just going in airplane straight down there. Middle. I would hate it since I can't go to the beach if I live flat center of Pangea. Oceanfront property would be even more expensive with so much less of it. People would invest heavily in achievements like longest road. Terrible. Pangea was mostly desert. It's a lot like a scaled-up Australia, so the amount of farmable land drops significantly, as does the amount of fresh water.